In this video, we want to give you a quick demonstration on how PAFnow can help you analyze and improve your order-to-cash processes in just a few clicks. Before we dive into the demo of the PAFnow O2C solution, we want to explain how to get the raw data from your ERP system into PAFnow in Power BI. For this purpose, let's imagine you have an SAP system and want to do process mining with PAFnow. First, we need to take the necessary SAP tables, then transform them into a suitable format, and finally load the extracted information into Power BI. Let's start with the first step, extracting the raw data from SAP to a SQL server. With PAFnow, this can be done seamlessly with our tool of choice, the DAB Exporter. The DAB Exporter is an SAP certified extraction tool. It supports both SAP R3 and SAP HANA. It was proven countless times how easy it is to extract the necessary SAP tables. The DAB Exporter has many benefits, including scheduling, parallel downloads, and more key highlights. Further information can be found on the official DAB Europe homepage. Of course, only SAP tables which are necessary for the O2C process should be extracted. That's why we provide you with the must-have knowledge and tools to understand which SAP tables are important for O2C and which ones can be ignored. We even have a ready-to-go DAB Exporter package. That allows a very easy and almost automatic extraction of your SAP data. Once the SAP tables are extracted, we provide a pre-built mature data model specific for the order-to-cash process. It takes the extracted SAP tables and turns them into a format that can be used in process mining. This PAFnow data model is the result of the experience from over 300 SAP process mining projects. It is optimized for process mining and allows you to start your analysis right away. At the same time, it is an open data model, which means it can be customized or extended if need be. We constantly improve our transformation to increase the speed and make use of new software updates. A lot of times, you don't want to just look at past data, but integrate process mining in your existing infrastructure to monitor your process regularly. Luckily, our transformation can also be scheduled and set to run in specific time intervals. This way, the data in your PAFnow reports are always up to date and findings can be turned into immediate actions. With all this in mind, let's look into the PAFnow O2C report to analyze and improve an order-to-cash process. Once the data has been extracted from SAP and transformed into a SQL server, the final PAFnow tables from the PAFnow data model can be imported into Power BI. In Power BI, we have ready-to-go PAFnow custom visuals and custom pages to start an O2C analysis. Usually, the first starting point of every analysis is the discovery page, where we can see a basic process. Here we see a typical O2C process, starting with a sales order, followed by create delivery, then come all the steps of the delivery, and finally create invoice and receive payment. On the discovery page, you have a couple of filters you can use. For example, you can filter on variants, years, and basically anything that is interesting for you. But for now, let's have a look at variant ID number 1. This is the most frequent variant in our O2C process. We see it's basically a perfect order-to-cash process. You can also easily switch to certain visuals that are useful for your analysis. For example, with the button on the bottom left, you can display the case overview. Now you get a list of all the case views selected. It gives you a nice overview and additional information for all the cases you are currently looking at. And now you can see, while you have an average lead time of 48 days in variant number 1, those first two cases you see here with ID number 101 and 103 have a much higher lead time of about 294 days. Let's have a look at these two cases in particular. By selecting the two cases, the graph filters accordingly. Now you get a list of all the cases you've selected. You can now easily detect where your problems are coming from. The first one is between post-invoice and receive payment. You can see that you have a large waiting time, which is indicated by the red box. You can find the second one between create sales order position and create delivery. Here the box is even redder, which indicates the waiting time is even higher. Because this is an SAP dataset we're looking at, it's important to understand the connection between the SAP data and the cases. PAFnow has a specific visual for this, the document flow. Here you can see the underlying IDs for orders, deliveries, invoices, and payments for the two cases that we have selected. And we can see how they are connected to each other. In this case, both cases belong to the same payment ID. In the next step, let's look at a very O2C SAP specific page of PAFnow called Changes. Changes in business usually mean more effort and extra workload for the employees. This is why you usually want to avoid changes. It happens all the time though, and of course the fewer changes you have, the less workload you have for one specific case. Here you can see the average changes per case. Over there, we can see how distribution changes over time. This is important for monitoring. And here, we can also see in which process steps how many changes are happening. We see that the most frequent change we have is the delivery status. So let's select it to look at the cases where this change is happening. The other visuals on the page will again adapt to this. Now, the PAFnow root cause analyzer gives me the power to immediately detect reasons and root causes for the behavior I have selected. So in this case, I've selected, why do I have changes in the delivery status? The root cause analyzer found out that one of the potential root causes is the material group with this number. So you can see, just after a few seconds, we have the first result, showing that this material group leads to changes. Apart from the changes page, PAFnow by default allows you to analyze with other O2C specific topics. For example, on-time delivery, looking at typical KPIs like how long does it take from order to cash. And also, you can look at your payment overview. Let's go to that page now. Here I can see how many payments were on time, too early, and too late. Also, how many payments you had in general, how many payments you had with or without a discount. The first analysis we can do now is to find out why some payments were too late and some were on time. A simple way to do that is just to look at all the payments which were overdue. So we click on Overdue in the bottom right corner of the page. By using the root cause analyzer, I can easily figure out which payment terms have a significant impact on these payments being too late. In this case, the payment term H203 leads to too late payments in our process. Here we are on another PAFnow O2C specific page where you can monitor your on-time delivery. When you sell and deliver something, you want to make sure that it always arrives on the agreed delivery date. That's something you want to monitor to make sure that you're always on time with the delivery. In this dataset, you can see that there are different ways items can be delivered: by air, by car, or by sea. A very interesting thing that you can recognize is that in the beginning of last year, you had a fairly good on-time delivery of over 64%. But then starting from April, you suddenly have quite the delays. The question you're probably asking yourself is, why? When you click on this, it gets more obvious, because the root cause analyzer tells you what the main route was where the delays occurred, and it was by air. This kind of makes sense because April 2020 was approximately when the first air travel was blocked due to COVID-19. This is why basically all routes by air were too late in this and the later month. This is another example of how you can monitor the on-time delivery of your cases to see, for example, what impact issues like COVID-19 have on your process. In summary, you can see that with PAFnow you can easily analyze and improve your order-to-cash process in just a few clicks. Of course, there are many more visuals included in PAFnow to help you. In this video, you just saw an introduction of a few very helpful visuals for your O2C process. You want to take your analysis to the next level? With PAFnow, you can turn your O2C insights to actions by using more than 400 pre-built action connectors within your existing Microsoft Power Platform. That's it for now, so thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us anytime.